Hear easy. Welcome everyone to the Kanye Quest, a weekly show going through Kanye West's discography. We usually start out this show with a Kanye Quest, but this week which we're going to get into in a second, we're going to talk about Watch the Throne this week, his Kanye West collaborative album with Jay-Z right after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Without any further ado, we're gonna get into our D&D, almost like quest. It's not D&D. It was D&D at one point, but it's more involved in the Kanye West fan fiction, I guess.
That's kind of what it's involved in.
But we're just gonna continue from there. So Trevor, take it away.
Right, it's gonna warm your heart.
Okay.
Night has fallen once more, and you and Kanye trek along a beaten path through a field. The tall grass sways with each breeze. The moon shines bright overhead. It looks so close you could almost touch it. You glance all around with every sound you hear in the woods. What if someone's following you? A wild animal? An assassin? It's hard to tell in this weird fantasy world you woke up in. Both you and Kanye are silent as you walk on. You hear leaves rustling in the distance, but not in the way they rustle when the wind blows through the trees. More like the rustling you hear when you walk through your yard on a fall day. Kanye perks up for a second, looking treacherously to his right at the trees about 100 yards away. He never stops walking, though. His pace noticeably picks up as the breeze blows once more. You see a shadow out of the corner of your eye moving unnaturally. You jerk over to try to catch it, but it ducks down just as quickly as it appears. You whisper to Kanye, never stopping, alerting him of what you saw. On my signal, he whispers, looking ahead. Run. The next couple seconds feel like hours as your stalker possibly approaches any second. Suddenly, Kanye yells. Run! He screams. You take off behind him towards the moon. Your foot gets caught on a rock and you fall quickly. You hear rapid footsteps and then a loud thud. Scrambling to your feet, you see Kanye on the ground. Only he's not in pain, he's laughing. You see another figure, none other than Kanye's friend and blacksmith, Jay-Z. Sorry I scared you two, Jay says, wiping the dirt off his armor as he stands up. I couldn't resist the chance to catch my old friend. Kanye lights a campfire and Jay-Z opens his pack, revealing many fish, berries, and bread. It warms your heart to see a reuniting of two old friends. The end.
Okay, so Watch the Throne. We've talked a bit before about Kanye West and Jay-Z's relationship, which is kind of like weird, and I don't think anyone truly understands it besides Kanye West or Jay-Z.
Buddies.
They're kind of buddies. They're kind of like enemies. Like Jay-Z doesn't really understand Kanye, but like I feel like Kanye loves Jay-Z. So there's this weird dynamic that I feel like it's never been truly explained how it operates. But Jay-Z never, when Kanye was starting out, Jay-Z never really saw Kanye as a rapper. He saw him more as a producer. And eventually Kanye was reluctantly signed to Rockefeller Records. And thus forth, going back to right after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, right before, we forgot to talk about this last week, there was the Good Fridays, which was every week there was a new single released for free.
I had a good time with that.
Some enjoyable ones. I think my favorite out of all of them was there's a track called Christmas in Harlem that was released on around Christmas. That's like the quintessential like hip hop Christmas track. If you can hear it, it has like 20,000 features to it. So like there's a version that's like 7 minutes. I don't even know. I forget who's all on it. I know there's like 20 features to it. There's like a 7-minute long version. But during the promotional stages of West Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, for Good Fridays, there's a remix of Power that surfaced that featured Jay-Z. West announced on Twitter that his intention was to drop a 5-track EP with Jay-Z entitled Watch the Throne. Later on, they would drop the track Monster, which was also intended for EP, but eventually made its way to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It was later revealed by West that the project had been expanded to a full-length album, and in a late October 2010 interview with MTV, he said in the interview that they planned to record in the south of France, hence one of the song titles, Bad Words in Paris. But yeah, this album, this collaboration between two of I want to say greatest, but two of the most well-known forces in hip-hop, collaborating on the same album, who've had collaborations before, but not for a full project. It seemed like a big thing. It seemed like a huge thing at the time. What am I fucking
big
grime? It seemed like a huge thing at the time, and I think my biggest problem with this album is I think it's grandiose, it's large, it's big, but it doesn't feel it. If you know what I'm saying, like, it doesn't have, like, the lasting power of, let's say, like, something like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, or Graduation, or College Dropout. There's good moments on here, like Bad Words in Paris, like Otis, like No Church in the Wild, but I feel like none of these moments last as long as previous Kanye moments, or let's say even previous Jay-Z moments, to name a few. I think this album, because there's 2 collaborators on it, it's almost hard for them to each go in depth on things, or for both of them to go in depth on a thing. It seems like, for something that's supposed to be like one of the quote unquote greatest collaborations of all time, it feels like this album, I can't believe I'm about to say this, doesn't feature enough Jay-Z. It seems almost kind of Kanye heavy. It feels like it has too many features to it. I feel like the Dream pops up way more times. I feel like Frank Ocean was...
The Dream, go home.
Dream, go home. It's like 10 o'clock at night. You need to be in bed. You have school tomorrow. But like, I feel like this album's kind of like bogged down with like features, or... There's just so many people producing. There's no threads through everything. It feels like I just kind of is doing what's poppy. And there's just some like I feel like the production, it's good, but it just doesn't... Besides a few moments, it's like... It's good, but it's not something I would listen to on repeat. Like, I like the track New Day. I like the track That's My Bitch, which just sounds like a glorified Foster the People track. Don't at me. And
Justin Vernon's on that one too.
Yeah. The track Who Gonna Stop Me is just absolute trash rap. That's like one of the worst songs I've ever heard, where they just take the song I Can't Stop, which I think it's like by Flux. I don't know who's by. But they sample it, and it's complete garbage. And Kanye should never be over EDM. Jay-Z, and never in his fucking life, should be over EDM. It was a terrible mistake. Whoever made that mistake needs to be punished. They should be sent through the see-through zone. But like, I think there's just too much going on here, and not enough narrative threads to make moments. Again, moments like Otis are so wholesome and like fun, and brings Kanye back to his College Dropout days by being over a beat that Jay-Z fits so much over, and they have so much chemistry over the track. They fit so well together as a cohesive unit. The track Bad Words in Paris, where it's so hype, Jay-Z's braggadocio on top of it seems so fitting, seems so hard-hitting. His performance is good. Kanye with almost his just goofiness and his ability to have fun in the track shine through so much, making it one of the most catchy and hip-hop songs of all time. Moments like No Church in the Wild, I think, are good, but they kind of fall flat because I don't think there's really any meaning attached. While I like Dream's autotune feature on it, I like Frank Ocean's feature on it. This is actually a Frank Ocean appearance on this album on both No Church in the Wild at the end, Made in America, were actually both recommendations of Beyonce, who listened to Nostalgia Ultra and really wanted him on Jay-Z's project, which I thought was pretty cool, because this is before Channel Orange, so this is Nostalgia Ultra, which I never really cared for personally, but at
least somebody liked.
But No Church in the Wild doesn't seem like it has much depth to it, like a lot of the tracks on this album. It's very catchy, it's very fun, the flow's good on this project, but it just doesn't seem like it has much depth. New Day, one of the particular things I like about this track is he's talking about his future son and how he wants him to have an easy life, not a Yeezy life. But 2 albums later, on No More Parties in LA, he said, "I've been worried about my daughter, I've been worried about Ken, but Saint is baby Ye, I'm worried about him." So it's you just automatically contradict this 2 years later.
Doesn't care.
But it's just there's so many different elements to this track. Again, too many features kind of bog it down. The production, it's grand, it's large, it's big, but
those are all the same word.
I was just
grand, large, and big.
I was using synonyms. Is that bad? Can I not use synonyms?
No.
Okay. But while My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was grandiose, it felt like it needed to take place in a stadium or an art hall or something like that. This large area.
Definitely an art hall. I can see My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy being performed in an opera hall.
Yeah, something like that. Whereas Watch the Throne seems like it sounds big, but it seems like it takes place in a studio.
It's very gilded. If I had to attach a word to it. I think it's well deserving of its album cover because it looks like it's made of gold. It sounds like it's made of gold, but the actual substance behind it is not gold.
Which one thing I never really learned about until I got it recently was inside. You're not gonna be able to see this. Audio listeners, also visual listeners, because it's probably not gonna focus right. But like on the outside, it's like gold and shit, but on the inside, it's actually wood. Like the CD's wood. It's not actually wood, but it's like painted wood.
Oh, gotcha.
So like, I don't know. Maybe that's like the illusion of like depth of this project. Almost, it's made out to be big,
gilded.
Something's not big is made out to seem big. That sounded stupid, but like I think that's more the illusion of grandness. I think that's a better way to put it. This album also kind of like it brings the end. I kind of view this as like the funeral or the casket for the bling era. The gangster rap braggadocio era kind of comes to an end with this album going
it's
more.
Still happening, but it's not
like we're not in that era anymore. Like braggadocio and like gangster rap is still happening, but we're not in that because I feel like Schoolboy Q as like a gangster rap, but he's in like the internet age. Like I feel like the age right after
he's
the bling era.
Internet crimes.
Yeah, he's doing white collar crimes. He's selling all his money and getting Bitcoin. Is that how it works?
Yes,
sell your money to get Bitcoin. But I think this was like the last album before we transitioned to the internet age with artists such as Frank Ocean and Odd Future, Tyler Creator. Going later down the line with like currently Brockhampton and Injury Reserve, some of the indie hip hop acts right now. But like we're in the internet age currently, and this was the death note before the end of the kind of like a braggadocio era where we're getting more conscious rap, where we're getting more different styles of rap, we're getting more jazz rap especially, we're getting more synthetic rap, more rap that's based off EDM, we're getting more trap especially, which we're almost coming to the end of, thank fucking god, because I think we're done with fucking trap. Good night trap, sweet prince. But yeah, now we're in an age of like young artists getting their come up just through SoundCloud and stuff and not really needing a label. And I think this was the end of the era of two artists who had to fight to make it, essentially coming together and releasing like an okay project that has a lot of grandeur to it, but in the end it's like a lot of false grandeur in a sense. There's not literally a lot of lyrical depth to it. There's good production, there's good performances, but there isn't all much there when you look back on it. I can't go back and listen to this as much. Like I tried to give this. I tend to, when we do the Kanye Quest, I try to listen to these albums like a lot throughout the week, so I can like think how they affect me personally or think how they affect Kanye's career personally. But like it was hard for me to do it this one because like I feel like it's just not like as good as, let's say, like even something like 808s. I don't think it's hard for me to get into as this. But in the end, I think it's a nice history moment that it is the end of like the bling era. It's the end of like that era before we get into a more heavy internet age. There's some fantastic moments again, not to mention Otis, No Church in the Wild, Bad Words in Paris, New Day, That's My Bitch. Those are all moments on this project that Murder to Excellence of I was gonna say Excellence of Execution. That's Bret Hart. Murder Excellence or whatever it's called are all great, but like I think this just doesn't really have a lyrically depth. It's not Kanye's best project. It doesn't have his best moments on it. It's not really notable in his career as much because he just released My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and just did a bunch of other stints and just had a bunch of previous life experience that was more notable on 808s and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So I think this is gonna be, it's better than mixtapes, but it's his worst studio album. Of all the albums we reviewed so far, currently it's his worst.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's okay. It's just I just don't think there's enough there to classify it. So the current ranking is still My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy at the top, Graduation, College Dropout, 808s and Heartbreaks, Labor Registration, Watch the Throne, Can't Tell Me Nothing. There's so many of them. I'm good. Get well soon. That was like a lot. We've reviewed a lot of Kanye albums the last like 2 months.
I know.
We need to take a break. But until next time, are you farting over there?
No, I accidentally hit your door.
But until next time, guys, have a Yeezy day. Is that what I say? What do I usually say?
Have a Yeezy day.
Have a Yeezy day. If you see Kanye in the street, give him Kanye's best.
Give him Kanye's day.
I made that bitch famous.